Hey, welcome guys. In this video I'm doing a review of the Google Nest Mini. This is basically a small upgrade from the Google Home Mini and rebranded under the Nest division, which is now why it's called the Nest Mini. For anyone that's curious, there's a quad-core 1.4 GHz processor inside this tiny little speaker, but that's not really relevant because a lot of the processing power and brain work of the AI assistant is done through Google Cloud Services, and that's why it needs a constant internet connection. It's a great little compact smart home speaker. For a general size comparison, here it is next to my Galaxy S10 Plus smartphone. It comes in 4 different color options and looks almost identical to the previous version, the Home Mini. The cable color is white regardless of the Nest Mini color. It would have made more sense to have the cable color match the Mini as people try to blend it in with their background or furniture, or it would have made more sense to just have the cable a black wire. The reason being is because black is a more subtle color and tends to blend in more naturally with furniture instead of a white color wire, which is very bright and easy to spot. The way it looks is not nice at all. I don't know why Google approved this design yet again because it looks almost identical to the previous version. As I mentioned in the initial Google Home Mini review, this just looks like something off of a jacket, a button to be more precise, off of a jacket or a blazer. It's not the most attractive design. Google had the opportunity to make it look much nicer, but they didn't even try at all because it looks almost identical to the previous version. The Amazon Echo devices, they are a lot more attractive looking. Google should really take note from their products and kind of do something more sleek looking like Amazon has done. In terms of physical appearance, the major difference here is that they created a hole at the bottom for wall mounting. That's it, instead of rechanging the look. The more subtle change here is the way you increase or decrease volume. To do either one is based on touch commands. So left is decrease, right is increase volume. Pretty simple, right? But it's a little bit difficult to find, and I had this similar problem on the Google Home Mini because you gotta get it just in the right spot. Now the Google Nest Mini will actually light up, letting you know this is where the spot is to increase or decrease the volume. However, this makes absolutely no sense at all because those buttons actually light up after you've already pressed one of them, which defeats the whole purpose of trying to find it. It would have made more sense that if my finger was in the vicinity of the button but not right there on the spot, then they should light up, letting the user know like, hey, this is exactly where you're supposed to press. Again, another thing Google really missed the mark on here. It gets internet only through Wi-Fi, which supports Wi-Fi 5. Unfortunately, there's no Wi-Fi 6. I do explain what Wi-Fi 6 is in a separate video. Still looking at the hardware, power is done through a barrel fitting and still no USB-C, unfortunately. This is disappointing if there's a rare chance you need to disconnect your Mini and charge your phone because most of them are USB-C based nowadays. Again, this is another thing Google really missed the mark on here. And the reason being is because now you have the option to wall mount it, or sometimes you might want to put the Nest Mini on a bookshelf that's rather high on a shelf. But of course, if the cable's not long enough to reach a power outlet, you're gonna have to get a very ugly long extension cord. What they should have done is allowed USB-C because then people can buy a third-party USB-C cable, one that's much longer and is adequate for their needs of length, and then they can just have a single nice clean slim wire going up against the wall or whatever, and they can even have it maybe match the color of their walls so it's much more difficult to see. Like the previous version, to have the assistant stop listening to your commands, basically a mute mode of the microphone, it still requires the switch to be moved, which is the back of the device. This is incredibly annoying as you'll often touch the sides, which is touch sensitive, and adjust the volume like I mentioned previously. Not only that, the switch is a bit stiffer than the Google Home Mini and is harder to turn on or off. It would have made more sense that if instead of a switch, it was a button. So you can actually just call out to Google and say, mute the mic, stop listening to me. And it stops listening. And the only way you can have it unmute is then you press the button to unmute it. Makes sense, right? Well, you could actually do that with the original Google Home, but even that command, that voice command, is gone. Google seemed to remove it for whatever reason. That's kind of concerning in terms of privacy that Google would remove that voice command. Maybe they expect people are going to be too lazy to get up and physically tap mute on the microphone. I don't know, kind of weird. Aside from that hole in the bottom so you can wall mount the device now, another physical change Google said is that they now have doubled the bass in this version. I don't think that's accurate at all. Having the original Google Home Mini and the Nest Mini side by side and playing heavy bass music of different songs, of different genres, been testing it for a while, and I have them play one at a time to compare the bass levels, there's almost no difference at all. Probably 5 or 10% noticeable, and that's because I have them literally next to each other. This could be due to the fact this is a simple, small, compact AI assistant speaker, but the claim of double the bass, I don't think that's true at all. However, I do have to say for its compact size, it sounds incredible. Even at 80% volume, it sounds a little muffled with music, nothing too bad, but again, this is a compact AI smart speaker, it still sounds fantastic for its size. Let's take a listen at 80% volume from about 5 feet away. Tell me about my day.
Good evening, Sook. The time is 5:14 p.m. Right now in Brampton it's 2 degrees and cloudy. Today, it'll be cloudy, with a forecasted high of 3 and a low of 1. Due to current wind conditions, it feels like it's -3. Have a nice day.
And on a side note, even when wall mounting it, even on say drywall, it doesn't really impact the way the sound quality is. It still sounds the same. Google also claims that this version is better at listening to your commands, even with ambient noise in the background, compared to the verse version. I don't know if this is true. I really have a tough time testing it because I found that this version and the previous one were both excellent at listening to your commands. The main feature here is the performance of the AI assistant. And in my opinion, this is one of the best AI assistants you can find anywhere in the world. It's fantastic and it's available in various devices, including your cell phone, smart home speakers, anywhere possible. Google's trying to make it universal for your convenience. With that said, let's test a few commands, such as, tell me something.
According to Clash Music, reggae legend Bob Marley was known for reading palms as a child in Jamaica. His mom was spooked by the accuracy of his predictions.
Set volume to 60%. Set a timer for 20 minutes on the pizza.
Okay, a 20-minute timer called pizza, and we're starting now.
Set another 10-minute timer for fries.
Second timer, fries, for 10 minutes. Starting now.
Turn off the dining room lights.
Okay, turning 5 lights off.
Broadcast.
What's the message?
Hey everyone, come down, dinner's ready.
No problem. Broadcasting now.
You do have the ability to link music services such as Google Play Music and Spotify, just to name a couple, to the Nest Mini. And even if you prefer, you also have the option of casting it from your phone, whatever's playing, to the Nest Mini as well. So you can use your phone as kind of a remote control if you wish to. I honestly find this great. I'm constantly asking it to say play some R&B when I'm washing the dishes or making some food. So this next gripe, hear me out, it's going to sound a little weird, but it's actually true. So on the lowest volume, just like the previous version, it's too loud. Now during the daytime, you're used to a lot of ambient noises. You probably wouldn't notice this and you think my claim is a little bizarre. But at the dead of night, when it's completely quiet in the house, it's too loud. So what tends to happen is I tell Google Home, turn off my bedroom lamp. And what'll happen is that usually my wife is asleep or maybe she'll be awake and telling it to turn it off and I'm the one that's trying to sleep. And not only that, we have a 2-year-old at home and we try to keep our bedroom doors open across. Even though we have a baby monitor, it's just more of a parental thing that we want to be able to hear what's happening in his room just in case the baby monitor fails. With that said, I'm concerned because I don't want it to wake him up, and getting a 2-year-old to sleep is really tough. So a few months ago, Google changed something that if you're telling a bedroom lamp that's in the same room as your smart speaker, it'll just chime instead of saying, hey, I've turned off the lamp, which is great. However, that chime is still a little bit loud. Turn on Sook's lamp. And it's very rare, but it does happen where sometimes Google doesn't know what you're trying to say. It gets confused and starts spouting out a whole bunch of nonsense. And I'm just standing there thinking in my head, be quiet, stop making noise, stop talking.
Sorry, it looks like that device hasn't been set up yet. You can do that in the Google Home app.
I'm pretty sure Google could fix this with the software update of making the lowest volume setting very quiet, more than it is. Alas, I've been waiting years for this. Even with the first version of the Google Home Mini, they haven't done it yet. So the Nest Mini is a rock solid device, definitely worth checking out. The big question is, if you have the Google Home Mini, is it worth getting this upgrade? No. It's almost identical in almost every single way possible, and any of the upgrades that do come with it are very minute. In fact, if you want to mount the original Google Home Mini, it's not that difficult. You can use double-sided tape, really strong one of course. You can do some makeshift ways to get around it. Some people actually sell adapters that already do that. Still worth checking out. Hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, be sure to check out my social links in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help. Subscribe, and thanks for watching.